talking to Alice, who's half Indian. She said, go up to the mountains. When you get depressed, the Indians get depressed and that kind of snit, they go on a vision quest. You need to get in line. So I said, what do I have to do? She said, nothing. You just go up there and sit. I said, that's within my purvey. So she took me up 40 square miles of wilderness, Pisgah National Forest, North Carolina, put me smack down in the middle of it, and drove off. And I took my bike and went down about 2 miles, found a sweet spot to camp. She said she'd be back in 2 weeks. She's a spiritual person, so I wrote it down. I sat there for 2 weeks, and it was idyllic, you know, and it was kind of restful. But I'd run out of vodka, I'd run out of cigarettes, I'd run out of food. So the day that she was supposed to come back, I come back up the hill. And I'm waiting for Alice, no Alice. It's turning dark, no Alice. I go over to the garbage can, I fish out. Half chewed apple, and I'm chewing on it, and I'm writing out a note to Alice. When the girl comes up the trail. The girl got a 50-pound pack, he's got a hickory stick, well it's actually a staff that comes up about like this, that he's burnished, you know? And he asked me what I'm doing. I told him what was happening. He says, hey Cobra, let's go to town. Took me to town, got supplies, got my cigarettes, got my vodka. He had an elaborate camp. He had a stove, he had a kitchen, you know, he had tables, he had lawn chairs, and he took me under his wing, and he was so cool. You might think, you know, suspect that he would be macho, but he was. He flew F-16s, even though he was retired. But in his camp, he had a full-size cardboard cutout of the Duke. And his favorite expression after he fixes, you know, a heavy meal, he let out a fart. He said, a farting horse never tires. And I was having a good time. I was having a good time with the girl up there. Every morning they'd say, Alice, Alice, where are you, Alice? I wouldn't even be awake. I'd probably stick my head out and I'd probably join them. After about 4, 5, 6 days, I'd say, Alice, where are you? It was like Alice was the muse, and I had no idea where she was. So here we are. We had company. There was this Sikh that came in. S-I-K-H, I looked it up, I had it spelled. It's a curious mixture of Hinduism and Islam, with a kind of a melt. Had a turban on his head, a beard, robe, sash, big long blade, scimitar. And I thought, this is my life. He's here. You know, this is my destiny. My flippers are moving. I'm getting along with him all right. And he was like, we even bragged on him. He would go around in the woods at night, you know, and it was like he had this feeling of the force that he did. Turned out he was using the pin light, and I found out. Really pissed off. The vortex kind of like started spinning downward then after these two guys got together, because it turned out the Sikh had killed the guy, and that's why he was put up there. He was hiding out for the summer. He called it manslaughter. You know, and the girl used to tell a story. He got shot down in Vietnam. Killed 2 guys hand to hand trying to get out. So we're there when the hog man comes up. The hog man's with his brother named Buck. There's another guy along with him. Seems like the colonel had gotten their spot where they did their coon hunts. The colonel was kind of delighted because he had never been to a coon hunt. But what I found out about coon hunting, it is the sport of kings. It fit me to a purpose, because all they did was they came in, he brought in moonshine, which is left over from feeding the hogs from the corn. The colonel brought out a gallon of vodka, brought out my tub. First, let me describe the hog. Okay, y'all know John, oh, he got his pictures for John Rockert said all those lovely things about New York. Okay, well, add 100 pounds to John Rockert. Okay, had about 40 years. Take off all his clothes, put him in some overalls, no shirt, barefoot. That's the hog man. His brother's tall, lean. His name was Buck. And what they did is they brought their 2 coon dogs. You know, we got the fire going, the moon's coming up, it's drifting up above the tree trunks, and they let the dogs loose. They just started making a big circle, an increasing circle, as they're going around, going around. Colonel brought out an iron pot. And this is like water for chocolate. I'm going to take you a recipe right now. In North Carolina, they got a thing called greasy beans. And what it is a short, fat green bean. And you've never heard of it. I know you have, because they don't let it out in North Carolina. So, Colonel had some greasy beans. The hog man had brought smoked side bacon. I cut it up, put it in the iron pot, put a bite yardie in there. Crisp that up. Crisp that up pretty good. Add some water. Throw in the greasy beans. Throw in the new potatoes. Up here, I think they call it Irish potatoes. Okay. Throw in the Irish potatoes. Little salt, lots of pepper, and then just cook the crap out of it. So we put the iron stove on the fire, and the old man's giving them status report of the coon hunter. He says, "Yep, you got the scent. Yeah, they see him now. 15, 20 minutes later. Yeah, now they got him treated. That's a coon hunt." They were telling a story. Turned out the hog man had killed 2 guys. One of them is other brother. Third time. Buck his brother had just gotten out of prison for killing him. All of a sudden it dawned on me. We're sitting there around this fire on this spiritual journey. And I'm with a bunch of killers. I said, okay, I'll just stay occupied. I have the beans and I get this wooden spoon and I fix them to stir it. And the hog man said, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, I was just checking the beans to see if it was done." "They ain't done." Colonel looked at me and says, "Larry's those beans done?" I said, "Colonel, those beans ain't done yet." That became a running joke. About every 15 minutes, Colonel would look at me and says, "Larry's those beans done?" I'd look over at the hog man. Hog man would scowl, shake his head. I'd look back to Colonel. "Them beans ain't done yet." Went on like that, and everything was cool until the acquaintance that they had brought, the younger fellow that I hadn't mentioned. He was sitting over there, he started complaining and whining about having to go to Vietnam, about having to spend time there, about how screwed up it was, about when he got back, how screwed up America was, on how he treated him, and he just bitched and complained and whined about it. Until the colonel finally, he'd been shot down. He went over there and he got next to him. He was trying to console him, trying to bring him everything. And I noticed that the hog man was getting a little agitated next to me. And you gotta picture this. He's weighing 300 pounds. His arms are as big as my thighs. He's like a samurai wrestler. He's sitting in a third row squat. All of a sudden, he leaps over the fire, and he blows this guy right in the face. The guy goes boom, 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 back up against the tree, okay? And then he stands up, starts fighting. The hog man grabs the colonel's staff, because they're going down through the holler. It's like a helicopter lining up, boom, 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 boom. And he's bouncing off boulders, not the hog man, the guy running this sham Vietnam vet. Bouncing off trees, goes across the creek, we never see him again. Hog man comes back, hands me the staff, said, if I'd hit that guy, I'd kill him. And he looked real puzzled. I was talking about the colonel. The hog man turned to him and said, that boy had never been to Vietnam. And then he looked down at the ground, and he said, those beans are done now, son. And it was a tragedy. He didn't mix it over the fire. He kicked over the iron pot. The iron pot had gone down. The beans were soaking down into the earth. I grabbed the spoon. I got down on the earth, and I'm taking off the top layer off the pine straw. And the beans aren't good. And I heard the Sikh say something. And it sounded nice. And it was something like, I eat dirt. I don't know what happened. Whatever glue that held me together came unattached. I started to feel like an animal, whether it was who I was around, the company you keep, but I came up and I took a roundhouse right, and I was going to smash this guy's face right into the next county. And I got it right about here. The colonel grabbed me here. He said, Bill, that's the wrong guard. The hog man grabbed me here, and they just fucking lifted me up. My flippers, literally, my flippers. Took me back and set me down on the stump. And I sat on the stump. I looked at my fingers. I said, you know, if I'd hit him with this, I'd kill him. And they started laughing. The Sikh behind them snickered. Then they stopped laughing. They looked around. The Sikh saw him. The Sikh was snickering. He started backing off in the shadows. And it was like having visions of deliverance in his dreams. And we never saw him. Then is when time started tasting like ice cream again. But put on a cassette, bluegrass on the truck. And he lived up to his name. He taught us how to buck dance. It was kind of like a constipated kangaroo doing an Irish jig. And he taught us, hey, we're dancing on the pine straw of the dirt and the green beans until dawn. I'd like to invite you all down to St. Simon's. I'll be at Murphy's Tavern. I'll have a sign made. It'll say, we'll tell stories for beer. All of y'all don't come at one time. I think we can pull this off. And I'll tell you how I got out of there. I'll tell you about, the lady wrestler from South Carolina. Stopping the videos. Oh God. Tomato sandwiches on light bread. And the girl that had pimples on her ass.